not do it appropriately. Not one person. So I don't know, I'm sorry, I just don't know where you're coming from when you make that comment. But that's the truth. And I just want the community to understand we did it right.
We're done.
So,
Well, can I answer?
No. Paul Berg, we'd like you to come and address the floodplain.
that's come up, so we've had Paul Berg in here that will talk about this issue that's come up since it has come up tonight on our school being built in a floodplain. I think it's important for those that are here to hear this.
Excuse me.
So the comments I will make are based on a 1992 study that was done by the Bureau of Reclamation. The study was based on 40-foot contour maps of our valley. The only reason I point that out is that computer technology that would study this is certainly different now than it was in 1992, and we have better contour data for the valley, but the flood study that's been referenced is based on that information. So here are my findings from reviewing that study. First of all, the proposed high school property is not in the major floodway of the dam inundation or the flood area of the broke. In fact, the major floodway is 3/4 of a mile away. The property is on the eastern edge of what's termed the overflow limits. So that means that the property would potentially have some floodwaters, but not a major flood. As proposed, though, the high school building, or at least the finished floor of the high school building, would be about 2 feet above these overflow limits. So if you now compare that, if anybody lives next to a stream that has a 100-year FEMA floodplain, you're asked by FEMA to at least build the finished floor of your house 1 foot above their 100-year flood mark. So that's how the school compares to just this inundation area. Also, and this is partly from the Bureau of Reclamation gentleman that I spoke with that released this information, he wants me to, whenever I present this information, emphasize this note that's on their map and it's in their study. It says the inundation areas shown on this map reflect events of an extremely remote nature. These results are not in any way intended to reflect on the integrity of the dam. So let me speak to that for just a minute. The Jordanelle Dam is designed for a 7.0 magnitude earthquake on the Wasatch Fault and a 6.5 local earthquake. So it's a pretty sturdy design. Just to put that in comparison, the last 7.0 earthquake in Utah was estimated to be 1,200 to 1,600 years ago. The only recorded event in Wasatch County, and realize that recorded events only go back so far, but the last recorded event in Wasatch County that was higher than 4.5 was a 4.7 magnitude quake in 1972 that was, its epicenter was located where the Greener Hills subdivision is now. A couple other things I'd like to point out. According to the Bureau's study, if the dam broke, their estimated time that it would take to be from the Jordanelle Dam to approximately the Heber City limits is just under an hour, 0.9 of an hour to go to 6.5 miles. And then it should also be noted that this type of flood is not regulated by Wasatch County or Heber City codes, meaning they have regulations that deal with the FEMA floodplains and other flooding hazards, but not the Jordanelle Dam. Do you have any questions for me? Thank you.
Okay. Open up to more comments.
Justin Kelly, 143 South, 100 West in Midway. I'm the principal at Rocky Mountain Middle School, and I just want to say thanks to the board. I think a standing ovation for Superintendent Sweat. Let you guys know that the teachers are behind what the board is doing. I think by the output of the teachers showing up tonight from Utah County, from Salt Lake County, and from Wasatch County and Summit County. They're choosing to drive past other places to come to here because of what you guys are doing for us. So as a principal, I replaced 7 teachers this year, and out of those 7, it was 50-50 on experienced teachers and new teachers. And a couple of my new teachers are here tonight, and they're all excited to get back in the classroom. 2 of those people went to Wasatch High, so they're now giving back to the community. Their first response when I told them what was happening with raises and those kind of things was they said, that's the only way I can get back here. That's what I want to do. I'm a product of Wasatch County. My parents are a product of Wasatch County. So I'm going to say thank you and kind of bring it back. I know we've had a banter of why we're doing this and doing that. I'm just going to say thank you on behalf of a parent, a educator, a principal. It's nice to see the support on both sides, and I think if we quit name calling to each other, we might get something done. So thank you.
Jerry Baum, 560 South, 200 East Heber. I come before the board and before our community in 2 roles. One as a father of children inside of Wasatch County School District, attending Old Mill Elementary, who, in my personal and professional opinion, have the greatest administrators and teachers to be able to educate them and prepare them for a world that, quite frankly, is in the process of being built and doesn't exist quite yet. They are learning Spanish, and they're good at it. They talk in Spanish, and I'm going, I don't understand the word you're saying, but good job. And for that, I turn to the community, and I say to you guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for seeing the value in our educators, in providing the facilities needed to allow my children and all of the community's children to get to their full potential. Thank you. As a school teacher, I work at Wasatch High School. I'm involved with special education, which means I work, as Sheila Johnson so eloquently put earlier, with students on IEPs, or individual education plans, who, for the most part, struggle advocating for themselves, being able to speak up and say, this is what we need. Because of our growth, which is amazing, my classroom has been moved every single year. Some years I haven't even had one. And I fully believe that my students, our students, all of them, deserve a safe place, a teacher they can come to say, I have this issue, especially in the high school level, especially at the elementary level, across the board. For trying to encourage growth and making sure that our students have the best, and we as teachers have the best that we require in order to make sure that our children, our most precious asset, not only in our community, but throughout the nation, receive what they need. Thank you for seeing our needs and supporting us.
Dave McNaughton, 2785 South, 1040 East here in Heber. I'm the principal at Timpanogos Middle School, and I've got 11 new teachers coming to us this year. 4 what they call the ARL, which is alternative route to licensure. But I started to count up, and almost half of those live in this community right here. And it just makes me glad that we're bringing people in that are part of the community to come back into our schools. And that's just something I think we need to know. We stole 3 or 4 or 5 teachers from South Summit this year. And I remember the last time I called the South Summit principal up to say, hey, can you tell me to do a reference check? He wanted to lie. I know him well. He wanted to lie. So, that guy's no good. You don't want him? And his comment was, we just can't compete anymore. We can't compete. You've got better benefits. You've got better pay. That's the only way we're going to keep getting great teachers, and I appreciate all of your efforts. I've never seen a district, it's so great to be able to say to the teachers and never have to lie about it, it's the best district you can work in. They're doing everything they can, and it's a great community. But when we can start taking, honestly, the best teachers from other districts, we know we're on the right path because they did it to us for years. And this is the way we make ourselves great, by taking the best teachers. We need to make sure we still have the ability to do that for years to come. So thank you.
Lauren Jennings, 1100 West Country Meadows Estates Drive, Heber. My phone keeps saying to breathe. I don't know about you guys, but it just keeps going off. I'm an intern facilitator at Daniels Canyon Elementary, and I have the privilege to work with college interns from the local universities. So my job is to support them, and hopefully by the end of the year they graduate to become highly qualified teachers to enter into their career of teaching. And we have hired, thank you, so many of those interns in our school district. And you know, they're not living in Wasatch. They are, some of them are, some of them aren't. They're from Provo, they're from Park City, they're from all over. And because of the generous support from the board with our benefits and the generous salary increase, they're staying. Some of them had to leave because they do live down in Provo and they need to get home to their families. But I look around, and how many of you were interns in this district? How many of you are interns now, or you know, and were hired? I mean, so that's really exciting. So thank you. We are. You said that in our videos that is to attract and retain highly qualified teachers, and we're doing that, and you're supporting that. So thank you so much, and thank you, because I love my job. I'm Andrea Sluga. I live at 1007 East 320 North, Heber City. I grew up in Granite School District, and at the time it was the largest school district in the state of Utah, and it was huge, and they were expanding so fast, they built quickly, and there are repercussions of that, and they're having destroyed buildings that were around when I was there that are now not good. And so I wanted to address the Midway Elementary School. It needs to be torn down. It needs a new school. And I totally agree with what Tom had to say. I also, sorry, I'm rambling. I'm a taxpayer. My husband has a small business in this community, and it's hard. I'll be honest. It's high. But I'm also very grateful to live in this community, and I wouldn't raise my kids anywhere else. I'm very thankful to be an elementary school teacher here at J.R. Smith Elementary, and I'm thankful to work in this district, and I appreciate the raises and the things that you're doing to be proactive, and I would just like to say thank you.
Comments from the board? Okay, we'll move on.
I am Leticia Heredia, 466 East Number North, Heber City. I'm a teacher here. I have rejected 2 times working for the dual immersion in the state, with the state, because I love this place. I'm not from this place. I'm from Mexico. I have lived in California. I have a son. And I know that life is expensive here. But this is the way I think. When you go to a hotel and you want a nice view, you have to pay more. We have to pay.
Go ahead.
We have to pay for that. That's the way I see it. So it's worth
No, I
it
think
to
I
live here
spoke
because
about.
it's safe for our kids. So I believe it's worth it to pay anything. Because also, thank you for the raise. Because my husband works for the school district as well, and we live because of the school district. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Brett Woodard, I live at 870 Pinion Circle in Heber. I'm a taxpayer, but there are 2 teachers in the family, so very interested there. I have a comment and a question. The comment is, it seems like if we're just on parity on teacher salaries with Granite School District, maybe there's a little more that we could do there, and I'd like to see that. Now the other comment has to do with with probably what the biggest bone of contention is with anybody that's got a problem with the budget, and that is the 45% that's going into capital. I'd like to know, are there restrictions on how that is to be used, or is it in fact open-ended? If it's restricted for capital expenditures, not limited to just buying property, but there's other capital expenditures as well, I personally would not have a problem with that. I mean, just discussion of which pocket it comes out of, the bond, or whether it comes out of this. But if it's not restricted and to be used for other things, then I think that's a question that needs to be clarified.
Thank you. So and I'll address that a little bit, and maybe Keith can. Capital, there's two funds: maintenance and operations, M&O, and capital. And capital is restricted to certain things, such as maintaining our buildings, such as buying property, building buildings would be through a bond. And then there are some other items that we can purchase with capital funds. I don't know all of them, but there are limited things that we can do with that. We cannot pay teachers' wages out of capital. It has to come out of the amount.
Well, I wasn't worried about that.
Anyway, just
Yeah.
is there anything?
Thank you.
I come to the microphone this time to ask my question. So next year, will it, can you, because right now you have a percentage that's going to the capital account. Next year, the level of the water stays the same, right? You can choose, rather than put it in the capital account next year, you can choose to put it into a different account, or is that not the case?
Anything that comes in on that capital levy has to go to.
So next year, you have to keep the budget the same in terms of...
We could drop it, we could maintain it, or we could actually raise it.
So if you maintain it, then can you reallocate where the funds are going?
Within the capital.
Within the capital.
Within the capital.
That's my question. I did have one other thing to say. So I feel like we got a little off track tonight. And it made me a little bit sad, just as a person that was here. I know that I love people like Tracy. I love people like you. I think we're all here because we care. My mom serves on the county council. I know the personal toll that you guys all deal with. You don't know says thank you very often, right? So thank you, I think, to all of us. It made me sad that we were cheering against one of our own citizens, though. I think that we can be more productive. I think all of us who read Tracy's site knows it's not good. But I'm grateful that she's participating in the dialogue. I think at the same time, I think while Tracy's slant is pretty obvious, I read her site. I think your slant is not as obvious. I wasn't going to make this point publicly because I was going to wait to talk to you personally afterwards, but I don't think we're going to go before that time. So I'll say it now. You guys released 3 videos recently. One of them, well, we watched 2 of them tonight, that I'll make comments on. One of them, you spent 20 seconds talking about the capital improvement budget out of a 5-minute and 30-second video. That's 45 seconds. That's 45% of the budget. All of us agree that we should be paying our teachers better. I agree. I would agree with them even more. But that's slant. Another video we watched tonight, you outlined 2 tax-paying situations, right? One in which the appraised value didn't go up, and you mentioned, this is what I shouted out, I apologize for doing that. It's unruly. If you look carefully at that, if the sheet that wasn't highlighted, the reason that person's taxes went down was not because of the school district. It was because of the other lines on that sheet. Their tax to the school district still went up. That was slant, pointing out that the taxes goes down. That's the second point. Before that, you released a video talking about the new high school. And I think we all recognize that our high school is crowded, right? In that video, it was explained that we can't really expand for all of these reasons. In talking to Tom about it, he said that we can expand the high school. That is possible. And I think that I'm not questioning your intentions. I know you guys are working hard. I'm talking to Tom. By the way, Tracy, he will talk to you. I promise you. I know you all the time that you need. I know that you're all working hard. I just think that it'd be better for us as a community if we could be honest at what our options are. And let us decide. Let us decide whether we want to build a new high school or to expand it. But I think they're both legitimate options, and let's just let us vote. And I think that as we are a little more honest about that, we can have a better dialogue. Thank you. I'm done.
My name is Ryan Brown. I live in rural unincorporated Utah in 2709 East Crestwood Drive, Woodland. I'm also the principal of J.R. Smith Elementary School. As we talk about the gratitude that we have for the board and for superintendent and business administrator who are willing to do the hard things, support our teachers, because it's those teachers who interface with our students on a daily basis. The process of selecting, of hiring, of finding continues to become a greater challenge. 10 years ago, my first year as a principal, I'd have one opening, I'd literally have over 300 applicants. It was before digital. I remember sitting there sifting through, reading each one of those. This year we had one opening. We're lucky to get half a dozen applicants. These hard things are so important because I want the best teachers in front of the students at my school and in every school in Wasatch County. When our students succeed, families succeed. When families are strong and succeed, our entire community is strong. So thank you for being willing to do and to say the hard things. I appreciate it.
Piper Riddle, 672 Schoolhouse Way, Heber City. I am an administrator and an educator in Wasatch County School District. Was hired fresh from Boise, Idaho, Boise State University 22 years ago, Midway Elementary. I want to speak as a parent first, that it's complicated, the issues that you guys have to decide upon, but as a parent, I do support a smaller high school. And I think that keeps getting lost in the messaging. Absolutely, you could expand that building, but that's not the point. We are trying to create a good environment for kids where they have multiple opportunities to be good at multiple things. And in a large 6A high school, that's not possible. They get lost. I also want to speak, and I hope I don't get emotional, but I'm always going to be an elementary teacher, and my tummy hurt about kind of the dialogue that we had tonight. I didn't like it. Because I know that we've got really good people up here. I know that. And I know that this man right here is a good man. But I have to tell you too, I know Tracy Morgan. I knew her daughter when she was at Midway Elementary and I was a teacher there, and she was an active PTA parent. I know her to be a good woman with good intention. And that being said, I think there is this opportunity for open dialogue, and thank you for inviting it. And I hope that you take it, Tracy, because I too know, having been educator, parent, educator in this district for 22 years, there have been things in the past that have made me scratch my head. But that's not these people. It's not. That's not my experience currently. And I mean that honestly, that's the things that some of the things that you've represented do not reflect on the people that are in front of us right now. And I hope that you can give them a chance. And I hope that you will sincerely give her a chance, because I know her as a PTA mom, and I know that she has good intentions. And I will end there. Thank you.
Phil Stern in Midway, Utah, 1045 North Homestead Drive. I know a lot of people here, I've known them for a long time. I especially wanted to come up, Mr. George left, Mr. Kettner. But I've got just a few things. I have a meeting coming up next week with the, I haven't responded to this police yet, but I wanted to have a meeting before this meeting, but it didn't work out.
Tuesday afternoon, right?
Yeah.
And you've received my emails.
Oh yeah, yeah, you're a great help, guys. It's been a great help to me. But I mean, I'm with Britton, and I guess he, like you know, we could have kept this a lot simpler. The math has got to be real. I'm a simple math guy. Paul knows that. You know, I mean, and when you supplied me the information, you know, it basically comes down that we got a 20% increase, and 11% of that is going to a part that nobody conflicts with. 9% of it's going somewhere else. This talk of all these appraisals and this a bunch of, that just clouds the issue. We just got to communicate better and make it simpler. And there's a lot of ideas. I've known this gentleman for a long time. He's hiring ARL people. I used to give my time here at the high school, or at the school district for free. All goes back along, right, Paul?
You bet.
And I tried to get on as an ARL guy. Now, this is the previous people, I won't even mention names, but it says, well, if I could only see you teach, Bill. You know, I have a degree in mechanical engineering. I know a lot of people at the school. Know this guy and this guy here for a long time. And there's a lot of people that are, you know, I'll use an example. Wasatch Mountain State Park is open 7 days a week, 24 hours, not 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, and they staff it with volunteers. And all they do is give them free golf. I mean, it's amazing what you can do. Now, there's a lot of, I'm not pointing fingers, but you were great to give me the information. But boy, it's like you said, tell me something, I had to ask another. You know, communication is a real problem in our valley, okay? We just need to be more open about things and get the solution problem. Now, I don't know the details, but I've been in the valley for 21 years. I have a business, and like I said, I couldn't get a job teaching, so I tutor math. And I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of kids coming out of Wasatch as well as other schools that go up to these, not just here at UVU, but almost these colleges, and they're taking high school classes. It's ridiculous. Well, let's do something about that, or maybe have them give us the doggone building up there, and we'll make that part of our thing. If we're going to teach high school classes, maybe that should be high school. I don't know. But I think there's a lot of people with a lot of good ideas. I had a lot of good ideas, still got a lot of good ideas I pass along. The old superintendent used to listen to me, but he never invoked it yet. Like I said, he's hiring ARL people. I think that's great. Get somebody that's been there with a little experience. I don't know if you ever watched the movie, I think it's, remember about the ladies that call computers? See that one? About the guys going to the movie. Faces. Hidden figures. I want to tell you, those gals, they were all black, and I think you saw the movie, and well competent, and they treated them terrible, and they did all these calculations without computers. They had a machine that I didn't see until I was out of college and working 11 years. This was 1962. I didn't see one of those machines until 1969. NASA had them, but I didn't see them.
Hey, Bill, just wrap it up. Okay.
Well, I mean, you know, you guys worked hard on Tracy. I know her too, but that was inappropriate. If you want to talk to her like that, you ought to get her in a room and talk to her face to face by yourself. Okay? I know it's 2 minutes, so I look forward to our meeting next week. Remind me of the day. Tuesday, I think it's Tuesday. Okay? But it's been
Your teaching style, your teaching style, I have heard, is legendary. Poetry and brown.
I'm just saying, I gave my time, and I have a lot to offer. This guy knows me. I still work in Park City. Been there like 15 years. In fact, I got an interview with him to teach there, but I didn't get accepted, and I really felt bad. You know what? I was lucky to get an interview, and then they down selected to somebody else. So I feel grateful that I could just get a chance to show what I could do, and I'm still there doing it. I appreciate education, believe me. Thank you.